Hello everyone, my name is Deepak Mattipalli, and the film I chose to do my final project on is The Bacchus Lady. So the director of this film is E.J. Young. He's a very famous director, and some of the other movies he's directed are My Brilliant Life, The Untold Scandal, and Asako and Ruby Shoes. This film was released February 12th, 2016. The Korean title of the film is Jogyo Junyeon Yeja, and the main actress of this film is Yoon Yeojung as Soyoung. She's an extremely popular actress in South Korea, and some other films she's done is Minari, Canola, The Taste of Money, and The Housemaid. So another significant actor in this movie is Yoon Ki-sung as Do-hun, and some other movies he's made or he's been in is The Spirit Walker, The Outlaws, and The Beastie Boys. So another important actor in this film is Jun Myun-sung as Jae-woo, and some films he's done are the film M, and The Mandela. Some other actors in this film and actresses are Anazu as Tina and Cho Hyun-jun as Minho. And now I'll give a summary of the plot and give a little more in depth about each character. So The Bacchus Lady is a film centered around an elderly woman, Soyoung, who is a prostitute trying to make ends meet. Then she becomes a guardian for a boy named Minho, who is in the hospital at the same time she was being treated for STD. Minho was in the hospital because his mother was arguing with the doctor, saying that Minho is also the doctor's son. The doctor kept denying this, and the mother stabbed the doctor with scissors out of anger. So, Soyoung decided to take the child under her custody and support him. So to support herself and Minho, Soyoung continued to be a prostitute. However, one day, one of her customers wanted to commit suicide and asked for help in this. Once she assisted in this, other customers started asking her the same thing. And the reason she assisted in this was that she felt that rather than harming these people, she was actually helping them because she was helping them get out of their lives of misery. So one day, she went on a date with the man in this picture, Jae-woo, just to get to know more about him. However, it got deep very quick, and Jae-woo claimed that he didn't really have a desire to live anymore. So Soyoung decided to assist in his suicide. And once Jae-woo died, she was arrested and convicted on the cases of her murders. She didn't argue or plead. She accepted her punishment and realized this was her fate. This resulted in serving a life sentence and passing away in jail too. Some other characters in this movie are Tina, like I stated previously, who is a transgender landlord, and Do-hun, who is a writer with disabilities. These characters aren't tied in exactly with the main plot. However, they're extremely significant pieces of the movie. And in this movie, a common theme is it's extremely different from the normal movie produced, in the sense that it hits everything that isn't really talked about in normal movies and goes over everything that the mass media isn't pushing. And this is because the mass media tends to stay and focus on the good and focus on the stuff in society people don't really want to talk about, such as prostitution, such as proper representation of LGBTQ, and such as supporting people with disabilities. And that's one thing I really liked about this film, how this film was able to integrate all of that and have an amazing story at the same time. And some historical background about the film. So this film is based on Bacchus Ladies. So Bacchus Ladies are older women, usually in their 50s and 60s, sometimes even older, and they're prostitutes. And it sounds pretty crazy, but the reason behind this is financially, they aren't able to elderly women especially aren't able to support themselves. And this is a recurring theme throughout South Korea, especially, where though the economy is heavily developed, and this is what we're constantly listening to in the media, for some people to succeed, other people have to go down. And this is what's happening with the elderly. They're struggling, so now they're resorting to, basically unmoral means to survive. And this is exactly what we're seeing. So for women above the age of 65, the poverty rate is almost 50%. And for single elderly women, it is roughly 75%. And because of these unmoral actions that are so common, STIs are extremely common in South Korea and are constantly increasing. And what I really learned from this movie is that South Korea, with all the upsides it has and everything, how well of a country it is and everything it does so good, there are some downsides that aren't really talked about. And that's what I learned through this movie. I learned why prostitution is high. Same thing with STIs. As I said before, in the mass media, it's always pushed like South Korea's economic development, this economic development, that they're constantly going on. However, we don't really see, the real side of South Korea, the true struggle of South Korea. And that's what I learned through this, not just through this movie, but through this entire course. And I just wasn't aware of all of this. However, now I feel that I am. So thank you for listening to my presentation.